Hey, it's Josh Jacobs, and you're listening to Fantasy Football Counselor.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the Fantasy Football Counselor, online with Tim, a.k.a. the Bald Man.
What's happening, everybody?
Tim, it is Week 7 NFL Fantasy Football. Thursday Night Football tonight. Not the most exciting game. Giants and Eagles, but hey, we got football. We got to appreciate it, right?
We got Thursday Night Football, man. We didn't get any last week. So, yeah, take what you can get.
Yeah, man, I probably won't be watching the game in all honesty, but I will be. Guys, I'm going to enhance that game watching experience for you. There's an app called Flick Chat, and we can watch this game together. At least let's make it exciting. I'm actually giving away, is it $100? Yeah, if you guess the right score and the winner, you're entered for a draw to win $100. I'm giving that away tonight. You got to go to Flick Chat, and guys, the link is in my story mode on Instagram, Fantasy Football Counselor, or I've linked it here below in the pinned comment. So guys, it's free to enter, and you guys, we get to join a community and chat together on Flick Chat. It's pretty amazing, Tim.
Yeah, man, it's a good idea. You might as well do that tonight, especially if you don't really care about the game. At least you can talk trash to everybody.
Well, I just had to find a way to make the game a little more fun. So I'm like, yeah, man, let's just give $100 and chat with people. So yeah, I'm going to watch it for that reason and that reason alone. So
yeah, like what else are you going to do? You're going to watch like This Is Us or something?
Is that back on?
I don't know if they're doing new episodes or what, man. I kind of lost interest after like the second season.
No, the wife and I are watching that. I think it's back at the end of the month, actually. We watched that and The Good Doctor. The Good Doctor's coming back November 3rd, I heard.
No, yeah. My girlfriend's been into The Good Place, which is a pretty funny show.
I heard there's also a presidential, is it a debate tonight? I think there is a presidential debate tonight, but I don't,
Whoopity-doo!
Nobody cares. All right. So let's go to starts and sits week 7. We're already in week. I can't believe we're in week 7 already, guys. We're going to start off with the quarterback position. We're going to give you the optimal plays at quarterback. We're going to give you all the guys that you could potentially sit at quarterback because they have a tough matchup, and every position moving forward, ending off with running back. Okay. So let's start off with the quarterback. And again, smash the thumbs up. Really helps the channel. Tim's hair is starting to grow now since you guys started leaving the thumbs up. So I implore you guys, please leave a thumbs up. It does help the channel. It means a lot. And leave some of those starts and sits questions below. Tim, why don't you dive into the comments? I haven't seen you in the comments lately. You got to get in there too. And
I normally get in there, but I only get in there when someone says something nice about me or says something bad about me, and then I tell them to go F themselves.
Well, you need to get in there and help the start as well. Believable, I'll try to jump in. Maybe the bald guy's going to try to jump in. We're going to help you guys out there below. All right, so let's start off with the quarterback position, give you guys some good matchups. Matt Stafford versus Atlanta. They give up a lot of points. Stafford coming off a 13-point week. Optimal position to start this week. Kyler Murray, optimal lineup, guy to put in your lineup. He is playing Seattle. Another optimal play here, Gardner Minshew versus the Chargers. Teddy Bridgewater coming off a terrible week. Hope he does better this week because I got him in one of my 2 quarterback leagues. Hopefully he has a better week. Sam Darnold, I don't trust him. I don't know if he's coming back. I don't think he is. There's talk he's coming back, but him or Wacko Flacco. But again, I wouldn't start them. Kyle Allen, Ben Roethlisberger, good matchup against the Titans. So I fire up Claypool and Deontay. We'll talk about it at wide receivers. Tom Brady and, Andy Dalton had a bad week last week. Not the greatest. He does have a better matchup this week with some great receivers. And I got to say Aaron Rodgers, Tim. I mean, against Houston, look for a bounce back from him this week.
Oh, yeah. He's not going to put up another 6, man. But I do believe you skipped over Pat Mahomes, who's got the 24th easiest, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, gee, Captain Obvious there. I know. I mean,
yeah.
I had, especially in year long, I can't imagine anybody wanting to sit Pat Mahomes. That's for sure.
Now, let me ask you, out of like the top 5 guys, who's your guy? Who do you have to play out of those top 5?
Man, well, I'm a little biased here because I have Teddy Bridgewater, so I have to play him. And again, he had a down week there, but obviously Pat Mahomes, that's another obvious one.
He's not in the top 5. Listen to the rules, Joe.
All right, top 5 from Stafford, Kyler, Gardner, Teddy, and the starting wide receiver for the Jets. I'm going to probably go with Teddy Bridgewater here.
Okay, I'm an obvious Kyler. I mean, you look at his last 3 weeks, 29, 30, 24. Even Minshew's right there, though, man. Minshew has been reliable as heck.
Right. You're going to have Kyler Murray versus Seattle, so you're going to have the poor man's Russell Wilson playing Russell Wilson.
Yeah, it should be a shootout, man. That should be a high-scoring game.
Well, we're going to see. Going on some tough matchups coming off a mediocre week, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, had a good week last week, believe it or not, or whenever they played a couple weeks ago, they were on a bye week. Drew Brees, Ryan Tannehill. he's been red hot. I mean, he does have the 5th hardest matchup for his position. He is playing Pittsburgh this week, so I do wish Ryan Tannehill the best. And again, I've been a fan of him, a guy that I said would outperform Lamar Jackson, and he has been in many games. So,
which is surprising, because with Derrick Henry, the bus on his team, you wouldn't think he'd put up a lot of points because he doesn't need to throw that much. It's running. But hey, he's getting her done.
Now, Derrick Henry had a phenomenal game last week, but he is coming off that huge run. I mean, it was like 94 yards or something crazy like that. So my concern is he is playing Pittsburgh this week, and we're going to talk about running backs in a second. But again, with him and Tannehill, I do like them. I mean, in year long, how do you bench them? But again, they do have a tough matchup. That's what you guys got to take into consideration. We say it every week. If they're your starter, sometimes you just have to start them. Sometimes you don't have a choice, especially in year long because of depth, right? It's hard to find certain good players, especially at running back. It's thin. Everyone's injured. Jimmy Garoppolo, tough matchup against New England. Carson Wentz, tough matchup against the Giants, against their secondary, believe it or not. But again, who knows? Coming off a 30-point week. Russell Wilson, Drew Lock, also relatively tough matchups versus position. And that's quarterback, Tim.
Let me hit you with the same question. Of the top 5 hardest matchups, who are you going to play? Not who you're going to sit. Who are you going to play?
I'm going to play Tannehill because I have him. If I'm not being biased, I'd still play. Oh, sorry, top 5. Okay, yeah.
Tannehill's in there, yeah.
For the hardest matchup. That's the only guy I trust there. I mean, Drew Brees maybe, but Drew Brees, I hate when they bring in Taysom Hill near the goal line. It's very frustrating.
All right, I like him, man. Yeah, I agree with this one. I think Tannehill is the play this week of the top 5 hardest matchups.
All right, so let's move on here to the wide receiver position. Starting off with the optimal plays, guys, at wide receiver. Again, leave your starts and sits questions below and smash thumbs up. Helps the channel. I see Tim's hair growing as we speak, Tim.
Oh, thank God it's coming back. I missed the 80s.
Was it off the air you told me that your hair was actually growing?
Well, no, come on. I don't say it. I'd say that I saw like 2, I kind of call them your freak hairs, right? Like sometimes in your beard, you get like this really weird thick hair or a really long hair. I have like 2 black hairs on the top of my head where I'm just like super bald. There's one like right in the top middle and one that's just off to the left.
Why do you keep them on there?
I didn't now. I shaved my head the other day, but they're there. Like I see them and then they're like, hey man, we're here.
Talking hairs. Too much information here, man. All right. So DeAndre Hopkins, we got optimal matchup. I mean, he is playing Seattle. I think it's a good matchup for him. And all the wide receivers there. Kirk had a phenomenal week last week. Will that continue? And I said that Kirk would be a pest. So far, it's affected Hopkins 1 week. Christian Kirk was the guy last week.
It was a week I needed it because I actually have Christian Kirk on my FTFN team, and normally he's riding the bench, but I did play him last week. I still got creamed, but man, his 23 points helped make it respectable.
Right. Yeah, I mean, who knows who's going to get the ball there now? I think Kirk is now emerging. Could have been a 1 week wonder for him. Who knows, right? Terry McLaurin, good matchup, but again, suspect with the quarterback situation, had 14 points last week. You may want to consider McLaurin. I mean, based on volume, he's probably going to get it. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, both these guys, great matchup versus Cleveland. Seems like they're the guys over there. When you look at Detroit, Kenny Galladay got a good matchup as well versus Atlanta. We talked about Stafford having a good matchup, so it makes a little sense there. And I told you guys the wide receivers for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now let's talk about this. Chase Claypool has been pretty hot. He had 18 points last week. Could have been more. There was 1 touchdown. He leaped out like Superman, and his knee came down before the goal line. So he could have had 2 monster games. Again, he had a good game last week, a monster game the week before, 4 touchdowns a couple weeks ago, including a rushing touchdown, believe it or not. He seems to be like the weapon in Pittsburgh. What do you think, Tim? Deontay is coming back. Do you start Deontay? Do you start Claypool? What are your thoughts?
No, I think Claypool has kind of shown that he is a guy. He's a guy that Ben seems to be trusting right now. So I would not veer away from Claypool, man. You got to look back. Like 3 weeks ago, he was horrible. He only put up a 3-pointer. But even after that, then he busted with a 46 and an 18. Seems like the real deal. And for a guy you picked up super late, or might have, I wouldn't say he went undrafted, but a guy that you picked up pretty damn late, he is paying off huge. Stick with him.
Yeah, the Consheeps went undrafted. Now they're all riding him. But the thing is with him, he actually had an opportunity to break out because he had the volume with Deontay being out. My thoughts is it's going to be Juju, Claypool, and Deontay. James Washington was brought in to cover the Deontay spot. Did okay, caught some balls. Nothing phenomenal. I think he ended up getting a touchdown or so. I didn't look at the stats, but I think he got a touchdown. I think they pushed James Washington out because I don't think James Washington is good at all. They push him out. They put in Deontay. I would actually get rid of Juju. I'm not a fan of Juju at all. I don't like him. I don't like his attitude. I mean, yeah, he's fun, friendly, but he's almost kind of like I don't know, man. He's like a high school girl or something like that. The way I don't, you get it. Yeah, he's a friendly, lovey-dovey guy, and he's dancing on TikTok, but I don't find him focused, and I'm seeing that in the numbers. I'm seeing that the Claypool's emerging. I don't like his focus, man. I don't like what he does on social media. I don't think he takes football seriously.
I almost want to agree with you. I wouldn't say he doesn't take football seriously, but I think he's got so many other things going on right now that maybe football's not as much of a focus as it should be. Like, he was phenomenal when AB was there. He was their great second guy to look at, and now that he is considered the man, he sure as hell ain't the man.
He's too busy playing Fortnite. I just can't trust the guy. I don't know what it is about him. That's why I stayed away from him. He was coming off of third rounds and all drafts. I'm like, just get Deontay and get Claypool. You get Deontay round 6 to 8. He's coming off. That was his ADP going into the season, and just stash Claypool late. One of them will emerge. Okay. And then they'll probably take the one spot. So far, it's been Claypool. Let's see if that continues. So they do have a good matchup this week. AJ Brown, a good matchup here at the Titans. Titans versus Steelers. Now, Steelers do have a better rush defense, not as good of a secondary. Brown could get some volume. It's not a bad matchup. They don't play wide receivers as tough as they do running backs, and they may be focused on Henry. So things could open up for A.J. Brown. Other matchups, Devontae Adams, good matchup. And again, I think it is a bounce back week for Aaron Rodgers. And Julio Jones, man, coming off a red hot week, him and Ridley, both of them having good weeks. You got to start both of them, and it could go either way. It could be a big Ridley week this week. We don't know.
Yeah, we never know with them. Like, Julio was lucky. He put in 2 touchdowns last week. And we've talked about Julio over the years because I'm a big fan of his, but he's always been in that low touchdown range guy. He's always only gotten like 6 to 9 per year typically. So for him to put 2 in a week is an anomaly. Don't look for that to continue, but look for big yardage. Look for, when Julio's in, almost always you can consider a 15-point floor.
Right. Let's say, let me just pull up the wide receiver rankings right now here. Where is Julio? Like, Julio's way down there, but Calvin Ridley is I got him here as a top point getter right now for the season, 121 points, believe it or not. So, I mean, you can't sit Ridley here at all. You just can't sit him.
Ridley's been their touchdown guy. Now, Tonyan has been making a case to take away some touchdowns from Ridley this year. So I'm hoping as well. I picked up Tonyan. I'm hoping that Tonyan can keep on his pace and grab some more this week too.
Isn't it crazy how 2 of my sleepers, Jefferson, are sitting top 10 right now? Robbie Anderson and Justin Jefferson, both guys that I said, who says DJ Moore is the one? I said, Robbie Anderson, stash him. I got him and I got Jefferson, both of them crushing it right now. I mean, Chase Claypool is sitting 15th amongst wide receivers. This guy was told he was undrafted by the Consheeps. Nobody recommended him that I saw, and he was ranked, I think, 88th amongst wide receivers. How insane is that? This is what I'm telling you, man. There's a ton of depth at wide receivers, and this was the year that wide receiver rookies could emerge and, wait on wide receiver. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely.
Like Keenan Allen sitting at 24th, DJ Moore. We got to talk about this, man. Like, it's crazy. Julio Jones sitting 29th amongst wide receivers. Mind you, he was hurt, right? So you don't know. Juju was drafted in the 3rd round, sitting 37th amongst wide receivers. Devontae Adams sitting 41, but I mean, he was banged up, right? So you never really know with wide receivers, man. That's what I'm saying. There's a ton of depth, and you got to be able to spot out talent before the season starts. So if you guys listened and got 16 rounds, you're sitting pretty with a bunch of wide receivers. Let's keep going here. Travis Fulgham, I mean, Philly's guy, he's been emerging. You got to start him. He's got a good matchup against the Giants. Darius Slayton as well. So both wide receivers tonight, both have good matchups versus position. Technically, the wide receiver ones on their team, you may want to consider them. And that's pretty much it for the optimal matchups. Let's go through some sits guys here. We went off on a tangent there. We had to talk about Claypool. We had to talk about that Steelers situation because a lot of people ask me, do I start Claypool? And I'm going to say yes. I think you should.
Absolutely.
Allen Robinson, tougher matchup versus the Rams secondary. Let's rapid fire here. Michael Thomas, I think he is coming back. Check out my last minute news and notes on Sunday morning. But apparently he was limited in practice leading into the game versus the Panthers this week. I think he's playing. I think he comes back. So
I think even if he comes back this week, I'm giving him one more week. Coming back with a tough matchup, just give him that one more week, guys. I mean, maybe I'll eat crow. Maybe he'll break out today, but I'm not, or not today. Sorry, this weekend. But I'm not putting it on him.
Well, that's the thing. We thought that with Julio Jones coming back, right? And then look at him go
yeah,
out.
you never know. But a tough matchup coming off, like, how many weeks has he been out? 3, 4?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, I'm not doing it.
CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, all of the wide receivers there for Washington against Washington do have a tougher matchup against their secondary. Who else do we have here? Cooper Kupp. I mean, I don't know what happened to him last week. Just fell apart. Just didn't show up. He is playing the Bears this week. A little bit of a tougher matchup for him. Again, Robert Woods as well. I mean, who do you trust there, Tim? Cooper Kupp's been, I don't know. He's been mediocre at best.
Yeah, that's another one of those. It could be Kupp, it could be Woods, and it's like that every week. It's always a coin flip between those two guys as well. So it kind of sucks, but I've got Kupp. I got to play Kupp.
Couple other guys, fifth hardest versus position, the Vegas Raiders wide receivers. I mean, Henry Ruggs, tough matchup, guys like that. But again, that's the only guy I kind of trust on Vegas to have that big playability. But again, I think he's going to be boom or busty based on big plays. We're going to have to see. He did have a big game last week, tougher this week in regards to matchup. Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, they do have it a little bit tougher this week as well, playing KC's secondary. So be cautious with them. And I think that's pretty much it. And again, San Fran is going to play New England tough. So Julian Edelman, N'Keal Harry, anyone from the New England Patriots at wide receiver, be cautious with them. And the 10th hardest matchup versus position, be cautious as well with Will Fuller coming off a big week. But I mean, if you have him, I mean, you got to start him. I don't know what to tell you.
Seattle's in there as well, man. 7th toughest. So, are you going to play your guys like Lockett, Metcalf, or you're going to take it easy on them this week? I don't know.
Right. All right. Moving on to the tight end position. I don't trust this guy, but Ian Thomas got a good matchup at tight end. Hawkinson, I do like him this week against Atlanta. You may want to consider him. Evan Ingram, hard to trust. 5 points last week, 10 the week before that. Very hard to trust, but is playing Philly. Decent matchup for him. Dalton Schultz, 8 points last week. Again, there's too many targets to go around in Washington. They do play tight ends a lot easier. So if they have, like I said, with wide receivers, it's going to be tough with Dalton, but he may go to Dalton Schultz. Dalton to Dalton. There you go. So he might go to Schultz a little bit more. Hunter Henry, good matchup as well. Anyone else here I'm missing for good matchups? Hooper,
decent matchup, yeah.
And I think that's it, Tim. There really is.
That's it for like good matchups, yeah.
When you go to tougher, your guy Hayden Hurst got one of the toughest matchups.
Whoa! Stop calling him my guy.
Is that
Sorry,
your
Hurst? You're not my guy anymore. Tanyan is my guy.
When did you guys break up?
We had a little falling out like 2 weeks ago.
Was it when he?
I was sick of his crap.
Was it when he put up 9 points or 3 points? When was the
it was just like it was weeks coming, Joe. It was overdue.
It was overdue.
I've been putting up with his crap for too long.
So he's riding the pine for you right now.
He's not riding anything for me right now.
Speaking of riding the pine, Fitzmagic got benched for Tua, and then he came out and said he was shocked that happened because it was his team. What do you think about that? I kind of feel for the guy, but again, I was talking to Tom Santinello yesterday. He's one of those guys that he's not phenomenal. He's a guy that'll get you a couple wins. It almost seems like Miami, they know that they're 3-3. I think their record is 3-3. Their record is like 3-3 right now. They gotta just roll the dice and go with the upside guy, and they're going to it. But again, do you kind of feel for Fitzmagic or no?
Absolutely, man. I thought he was doing pretty damn well this year for the team that he's got. He's been put, and fantasy wise too. He's been putting up some good, reliable points, man. And then just to bench him out of nowhere, like not justified, kind of a dick move, but so what?
That's kind of blindsided him. But again,
business.
He isn't the guy I think that'll get you there. You know what I mean? And like I said,
so do you start Tua and start breaking him in? You're not expecting much this year either. Like you're not going to make the playoffs or anything. You'd be amazed if you do. Plug in the young guy, but maybe not be so dickish about it. Maybe give him a few snaps here, kind of ease him into it.
Yeah, it was like shock to the heart,
Yeah,
and the Dolphins are to blame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it seems really dickish.
They gave football a bad name. So no, but I'm just saying it's like it was kind of mean the how abrupt it was. But again, I think they're just kind of like, they got their chips. They've got one stack of chips like poker. They're bluffing. Maybe they're bluffing, but they're just kind of like all in. We're just all in. If it works with Tua, it works. We win some money back. We get some wins. If not, we're all in. We lose. At least we knew we gave it our best shot. And I don't know if they can do it with Fitzmagic. I think that's the mentality.
I think if Tua comes in and he craps for the first quarter, not quite full half, but if he just craps the bed, I wouldn't be surprised to see Fitzpatrick come back in.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. All right, and then he'll be like, I don't want to come back in now.
Screw you guys. You chose him. You go.
Exactly. George Kittle, 5th hardest matchup versus position, but I mean it's George Kittle. Jared Cook, tougher matchup this week, and Geno Smith. A lot of people, he hasn't done much lately. He didn't do much last game. 2 points the week before. He had a good game, but Geno Smith could be a guy that Tannehill could go to as an outlet in Pittsburgh if he has some difficulty. But it is a tougher matchup for him. And, it hasn't been exciting this year, but Darren Waller, 11th hardest matchup versus position. Be cautious with him as well.
He'll be the outlet this week, I think. He'll be the go-to guy this week for Vegas.
Yeah, and you may want to consider Rob Gronkowski, mid-range matchup, but it seems like him and Brady seem to be like on the same page now. It seems like he's kind of come out and they're connecting. So I like Gronkowski now. I think he's going to do well if he stays healthy. But that's another issue, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to connect, so it might be there. I'm not looking for massive points out of him still like he used to get, but should be safe and sound.
All right, moving on to running back positions. Aaron Jones, optimal matchup versus Houston. David Johnson, second easiest matchup versus position against Green Bay. David Johnson, get it together, for God's sakes.
Put up a monster finally, for crying out loud.
Man, watching him is so hard considering he's on all my teams. I drafted him in the 3rd to 4th round in those teams, and he's kind of like David Montgomery. It's so anticlimactic. It's like, oh yeah, I got the good matchup. Oh yeah, I got the volume. Oh, this feels so good. I've got all of this. I'm hanging on to 2016. He's got everything there. He's got the volume. He could be the guy, and then it's just
a flat 10-pointer.
Yeah, no, 14 last week, but it's so anticlimactic. I want to see 3 to 4 touchdowns. I want to see a breakout for a run. Why is he sucking so bad? Just do something.
Let me give you this. Let's forget him for a minute. Let's move on to the next guy. Let me give you this guy, Joe. Let me give it to you. Let me set it up.
Who's that?
Who's the man you were talking about a lot last year? I'm doing my Laws Nation, by the way.
Who's that?
Who were you talking about a lot last year? He goes by Rojo. Rojo.
Rojo's looking good.
He's got a great matchup this week, and I'm actually saying, go all in with him. Give him.
Yeah, it's weird. It was a couple years ago he was endorsing the brand, and you were basically like, I'm not sold. And he wasn't performing because they put that bottom feeder.
Don't make your excuses. Don't talk crap. He wasn't getting her done for whatever reason, and you were still pushing.
Lack of opportunity. But anyway, now he's emerged, and it's weird because Leonard Fournette's there, and you just completely sideline Leonard Fournette. He is the guy.
He is. And he's been showing up the last 3 weeks. He's got another easy matchup. Roll it, man. Go with him.
Yeah, man. Why not? Todd Gurley, get another guy that kind of looks bored out there. He looks bored. I don't know what it is. It's just, and they bring in Brian Hill, who fumbled the ball, and they bring him back. If you fumble the ball, dude, you're sitting on the bench. I have no idea why they brought Brian Hill back on the field. I don't get it.
What can we say about Atlanta in general? I mean, an amazing looking offense on paper. And yes, they've had some good games, some good fantasy games, but just not able to put together the whole package and have it done. And a guy like Gurley is kind of suffering because of that. And so was Hayden Hurst. Like, Hurst was on the field for a lot of snaps, but not getting the ball. He was out there as a glorified blocker, never getting the ball. Gurley's been out there quite a bit as well, just not getting the looks that a guy like him should deserve and get. And I wasn't high on Gurley this year, so don't think I'm just like, oh, Tim always wants the Atlanta team. No, I don't care. Just the team in general just doesn't seem to have it all together.
Doesn't seem like it, no.
And then some guys that we thought would have great years on that team just aren't getting it done.
Not at all. Joshua Kelly, again, hard to trust him. Seems like Justin Jackson's been the guy there. Disaster there. They do have a good matchup. Hopefully Kelly gets some work this week. Alvin Kamara, man, good matchup this week against Carolina. They can't stop the run if their life depends on it. Washington, Antonio Gibson, good matchup as well. And Boston Scott has a good matchup tonight versus the Giants, with Miles Sanders being out for this game.
Are you skipping over Buffalo for any particular reason? Like they just don't even deserve a mention.
No, they do have a good matchup, but Singletary, Moss, they don't excite me at all.
Yeah, they've done nothing pretty much, so I kind of get it. I just had to hit that point.
I wouldn't start. I can't trust him. I told you from the beginning, I just can't trust Singletary. He's an undersized back. Zach Moss, not a guy. I don't know, man. It's a bit of trouble there. I don't like it.
Yeah, you liked Moss. I mean, you were talking him up a fair bit before the season started, but yeah. And it's just not working out. Every now and then he'll get it, and other times, nope, he's not even a factor.
Tough matchup versus position of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, coming off a huge week last week, pretty big week, and a guy that I think had a little more pep in his step, knowing that Le'Veon Bell is there, wants to secure a spot. Very understandable. From what I heard, Le'Veon Bell may or may not get some work this week. We may see some sightings of Le'Veon Bell this week, man.
Yeah, Laird's been one of those guys I wasn't high on. He started performing really well. Then I started saying, okay, you know what? Maybe he's the real deal. Then he has a couple stinkers. Then he has another decent game. He's just up and down. He's a plug and play every week. The fact that they're playing a tough matchup this week, he's not getting enough in the receiving game to make me go with him when he's playing a tough rush defense.
Right.
So this week I'm not on him.
I still don't understand why they brought Le'Veon Bell in there. They don't need him, but it's so annoying. And it's such a slap to the face of Darrell Williams and Darwin Thompson, who are in the backfield. I don't know, man. It bugs me.
I get it, but that's KC, man. I mean, they don't care. They just want to have a ton of weapons.
Yeah. James White, I mean, running backs from New England, got it tough against San Fran. Don't really trust those guys anyway. Derrick Henry against Pittsburgh, we talked about it, coming off a 43-point game. Wow. Derrick Henry, unbelievable. But again, you can't sit him. A sleeper here, but he does have a tough matchup. JaMycal Hasty, maybe him and McKinnon get some work now with Mostert being out. But JaMycal Hasty, don't be hasty and start him. There you go. No, I'm just joking. He does have a tough matchup, fifth hardest for his position, and he put up 4 points last week. But again, with that void there with Mustard out, you never know. Josh Jacobs, tough matchup. James Robinson, tough matchup. Okay, just to be aware of that. But I got to start Josh Jacobs. I can't sit him. Kenyon Drake coming off a huge week, finally a breakout game. Apparently, I read somewhere that his mom was saying he's got to run well over Dallas last week. I don't know. So I guess people were thanking his mom. He had a good game. He did it for Mama.
Mama says.
Yeah, he did it for Mama. David Montgomery, another guy, just pisses me off. 14 points, 19 points the week before. I mean, he's so anticlimactic, Tim. He's so boring.
Yeah, I wasn't even on him at all this year. So if anything, I'd like to give you the business about a guy like him.
Yeah. And that wraps it up, Tim. Those are your starts and sits, man. And then you got your mid-range matchups, guys. Zeke Elliott coming off a 2-fumble game against Washington, mid-range. Mike Davis, mid-range. Joe Mixon, mid-range. If he's healthy, I think he was banged up. He should be good to go. He did not practice Wednesday, so keep an eye out for Mixon. DeAndre Swift had a mini breakout game last week. Hopefully that continues. They got to sit Peterson and start him, I think. He's the young, hungry guy. So, yeah, it's pretty much it, Tim.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, I mean, like you say, it's not a great game tonight, but it's a game people can get over there. They got a chance to win 100 bones.
Why not?
Go. Yeah.
I had to make it exciting, Tim. And then there's a huge UFC fight this weekend. This weekend. Gaethje versus Khabib. You don't follow UFC, I know, Tim, but very, very exciting lightweight matchup.
Nice.
Yeah, the old division with BJ Penn when you used to watch.
That's right. Yeah. Damn, you're aging me, man.
155. It's gonna be a good one. Gaethje Khabib. So Khabib is like, he just lost his dad 3 months ago. He's 28-0. This guy, he just mauls you. He's on top. He does ground and pound, but he's a very, very strong wrestler. He used to wrestle bears at the age of 4 or 5.
Let me ask you then: is he a boring fighter like GSP? Is he a cover and smother type fighter?
A little bit.
Oh, that's so boring. I hate that. Like GSP was amazing back in the day, and he could stand and fight, but he would always just smother guys. He would take them down. He was a fantastic wrestler. Kind of exciting in that sense, but boring fights.
But this is interesting because, yeah, he just takes it down. But this is interesting because Gaethje's a major stand-up fighter, and he's got good takedown defense, and he's decent on the ground as well. So he knows what he's getting into. So Gaethje's going to play him like he's going to try to keep his standing. Obviously, Khabib's going to try to take him down. If on the ground, I still think Gaethje's got enough to either sprawl out and avoid the takedown and maybe keep it standing up, or if it is on the ground, I think he could hold his own. It's going to be a very interesting matchup. I'm excited for this matchup.
Yeah, I hope it's not anticlimactic. Like we had some bouts like that too, where we would talk up one fighter. Oh no, he's gonna block the takedowns. Everything's gonna be good. They're gonna stand up and throw, and then it's boring as hell.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one, man. So we got a chat going on that on Flick Chat. If you guys want to join the conversation, there's a link here below and a chance to win $100 if you guess the winner of that one, which round it is, and how they did it, whether it be submission, knockout, or decision, whatever it is. Leave it in the Flick Chat app, okay? It's free to enter. All right, Tim, that wraps it up, man.
All right, brother. Yeah, I'm out. You guys have a good day. And for all our fans, we will see you next week, or I will see you next week.
NFL fantasy football starts in sits week 7. We're out. Leave that thumbs up for Tim's hair. We'll talk soon.